the introduction. Oh, you think because I'm having sex chronicles that I got to be all dressed up? Not with the introduction, you don't. Sex Chronicles, chapter 35, verse 12. This is the introduction. Sex Chronicles, chapter 35, verses 12. The introduction. Remember I told you a while back, your parents are responsible for you to a certain degree. You are image of your parents. So if your mother and your father happen to be drunks, alcoholics, drug addicts, it's a strong possibility that you're going to get involved with that. If your mother and your father was very promiscuous, it's a strong possibility that you're going to become just like that. Listen, when you are in denial of what you think you don't do, because most people do what? Lie. They lie. I can show you videos after videos where we're going to use, for example, this is for example, and listen, females, males, it's not to discriminate you. We have to understand why we live the way we live. Why, through generations after generations, we continue on this path, and it is destructive. And one thing we see not want to do is don't want to grow up. You'll hear terminology of, I'm grown, no one can tell me nothing. Well, the person is correct, but when you hit a wall or you hit a stump, then you want somebody to help you. And even though you might put up a full brigade, I don't need no help, but you're going to want somebody to help you on the low. Or if somebody offered to help you come off your stump, you accept it on the low. Sex Chronicles, chapter 35, verses 12. Your parents responsible for you. Now, at a certain age, you're going to have to grow up. And you're going to have to take responsibility. And a lot of you do not. You play both sides of the field. I'm grown in a moment, and then you become childlike mind in the next moment. And if you stay like that in that state of mind, the older you get, you're just going to repeat the same thing over and over and over again. It's just a fact, whether you want to believe it or not. Sex Chronicles, chapter 35, verses 12, it states, are you an image of your parents? Are you an image of your parents? Now, you might claim that you're not like that. You might absolutely go, I'm not nothing like my parents. Not at first. You think that you're not. But when you're young, you're not as wise as you think you are. If you've been drinking, if you've been smoking, and you've been fucking wildly, Remember, some of your parents have not stopped what they was doing. Some of your parents have grown up and snapped out of it and made a better life for themselves. Sex Chronicles, chapter 35, verses 12. Your parents need to take responsibility, because once they have children, their children will mimic them. Now, understand this. It's up for the child to grow up into adulthood, from adulthood change into a maturity human being. You have a choice to do so. If you don't do so, you're just going to repeat the same thing over and over again. And then years of your life will pass you by and you notice that nothing have changed. But look at the image you look like. Look at the image you become. And this is where a lot of you become liars, deceivers, because you got hidden agendas because you don't want nobody to know your true self. That hidden cesspool mind, cesspool way of living. Yes, because a lot of your parents was just like that. A lot of your parents were messed up because they couldn't snap out of that lifestyle. Sex Chronicles, chapter 35, verses 12. This is the introduction. I told you Sex Chronicles is coming. You got to get ready. Because you as a parent have to install information into your children. They will take this information, use it to catapult themselves, to make them a better human beings. Listen here, it's not about walking around here being Mr. Perfect. Every day you wake up, you go through a mindset of how you're going to feel. It's a choice of what you make before you walk out that door, what you're going to do for that day. Every day you have a choice on what you're going to do. Now, if you wake up with a bad attitude and you don't change it, it's going to be a bad attitude all day, and whoever's around you is going to suffer. And if your kids around you, they're going to feel your wrath, man or woman. And if you continue doing that, same pattern, negative energy, a great percentage of the time, your children will pick that up. And I mean, they will pick it up quickly. Your children will pick it up quickly. And from that point, what you're going to do? Then by the time they become young adults, they're giving you a hard time. It's called, they're not going to respect you. They're not going to respect you. Your children is the image of you. And you can sit there and go, I was never like that. That lie going to come in. That lie. I was never like that. Yeah, you was like that. You was wild. The question was the percentage of your wildness. But you was wild. You was a freak. You was drinking. You was smoking. How long you was doing it? You know, most of y'all don't tell the truth anyway. How many people you had sex with? Peep what I just said. How many people you had sex with? And a lot of you damn sure lie. A lot. Oh, I only had sex with just 7 people. No, you did not. A lot of you have fucked over 10 to probably 20 different people, and you just don't want to tell the truth because these are the words people like to use. I'm a lady. A lady not supposed to tell. You're going to tell one way or the other. You don't have to be verbal by doing it. Because the freaks will come out at night. Especially when you can't control that shit. Men on a different kind of ego. If a man has a daughters, if he has mostly daughters, he's not going to tell his daughters that he slept with a lot of women. No, he's not going to do that. Use me for example, and then this introduction is over. I will be seeing you in 2 Chronicles, chapter 35, verses 12. The beginning. When I created my daughter, I knew psychologically I had to change. When I created my daughter, I knew I had to change. Without a shadow of a doubt, my firstborn. When I had my first daughter, my first child, I knew I had to change. Without a shadow of a doubt. I was crazy wild for females. Real talk. But it wasn't about sex with me. It wasn't a sex thing with me. I love hanging out with females. I love the attention. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't worried about having sex with them because that was going to come naturally. I understood the whole sexual thing between a man and a woman at a very early age. A woman sees you, young female, she sees you, she already knows she's going to give you that pussy because she's already thinking that way anyway. So I never sat up there and had less confidence. My confidence was so beyond. Real talk. I just was very choosy. Very, very choosy. And that served me throughout the years. It served me because a lot of people are not psychologically correct because you don't know what's their hidden agenda. You don't know. And you don't want to go out here and be no parent way before your time. Because I had my daughter at a late age. I wasn't in my 20s. Wait a minute, hold on now. My daughter's 26. I'm 53. Okay, I had no shame in my game. I was 27 years old when my daughter was conceived. 27, my late 20s. All right? And I'm going to be honest with you. Before that, I never used to think about having no baby. And I didn't plan to have the baby. This is what we got to learn in 2 Chronicles. I didn't plan to have the baby. Okay? I told you I was wild, but even though I was choosing them, but I was not being responsible by wearing protection. Sometimes I wear protection and sometimes I didn't wear protection. And sometimes I didn't care less. Sometimes I asked the female, are you wearing protection? Any kind of protection so you won't get pregnant? Some females says, yeah. Some females, you don't know. And then sometimes I was stupid because I was drinking and I was smoking and I was wild, even though I was choosy. But when I chose the female I was going to have sex with, that's where I became a lot of times I was clumsy because I was very, very, my sex drive was way out there. I mean, whoo, but I was choosy. I was very choosy. I used to be able to feel, I still feel it now, but I ignore it. Now I'm more mature. I could sense a female and know that she want to get fucked that night. I could sense that like this when I was younger. And I used to gravitate to that. And next you know, without even talking, next thing we either go into a hotel or to her house or her mother's house, or somebody's sleeping, and next thing you in the bed, you fucking them. But most of the time, I used to go to the hotel, though, because I ain't waking up and somebody trying to fuck me up, or I have to do something stupid. You know what I'm saying? So, Sex Chronicles, chapter 35, verses 12. It's going to be interesting, brothers and sisters. But like I said, when I had my first daughter, I knew I had to be careful and slow down. Because I didn't want, it was something in me, did not want my daughter to be promiscuous, a drug addict, an alcoholic. Because I know mentally I have a strong mind, strong heart, and my confidence levels is way beyond. You know what I'm saying? So I needed for my daughter to see that. Her father is a God. I needed her to see that and to understand that. Work hard. Get the things you want. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy life. Don't bed hop around. One thing I'm going to make clear, then I'm getting off because it's the introduction. And I'm using me for the introduction. One thing let me make clear. I never allow my daughter to see me with a bunch of females. She only seen 2 females. That's it. The one prior and my heaven today, which we've been together for 14 years. I never allow my daughter to see me with a bunch of women. No. You don't do that. As a man, you don't do that. You're sending wrong signals to your daughters. Don't do it. That's one thing I didn't do. If I partied, went on boat rides, I did all that. I would never bring no female to my house. I would never have a female with me when I would pick up my daughter. I never bring a female. The only female she only knew 2 of them. Was the prior female, because we was together for a while. And then my heaven now, we've been together for 14 years. You understand? And that's what you do. I mean, for me. But a lot of you don't do that. You allowing your children to see multiple people. Nah, I was very funny with that. This is what keeps my daughter's mind from being polluted. Peep the game, brothers and sisters. Peep the game. If we're going to change, we got to change our behavior. We cannot be like our parents. You have to make a choice. And when you become an adult, you have to become a mature adult. You have to tell yourself, I got to do the right thing. Because too many of you are absolutely selfish. And your children suffers for it. I'm SHU AMUN RA. And this is Sex Chronicles, the introduction. Chapter 35, verse 12. Get ready. Some of you is going to see yourself in the mirror. Peace.